Today we are going to be doing the favorites tag. This was a tag created by my friend Reese over at the Writing Songbird, and I was planning to do a different video for today, but it is currently 9:30 on Thursday night, Thanksgiving, and I need to get this up tomorrow, so I don't have time to edit the other video. This should be easy, so yeah. Hopefully I'll get the other video done, but I still wanted to do something that would be connected to C.S. Lewis, because every video I've done this month has been related to Lewis because of the readathon I'm hosting. So, in case you had any doubt, with the favorites tag, believe me, there will be lots of Lewis. So let's just get going. So, first question is, what do you say your favorite book is and why? And I would say, probably if asked, the whole Chronicles of Narnia series. If pressed for a single book, it would be The Silver Chair, because that is my favorite in that series. I love the characters. I love the adventure. I just love pretty much everything about Silverchair. So yeah, Silverchair is my favorite Narnia book and my favorite book overall. The next question is, what is your real favorite book and why? And I mean, my real favorite book is still The Silverchair, for all the same reasons I said in the last question. I don't usually try to dodge the question of what's my favorite book. So yeah. All right, next question is, what is your favorite series and why? Narnia, again. If you're not new, then you'd probably know that already, considering that I'm hosting an entire readathon this month about Lewis, and I created an entire original Narnia tag. You probably already knew that about me. Alright, who is your favorite author and why? Do we know? Any guesses? Yeah, C.S. Lewis. Love Narnia, obviously. I'll even enjoy his nonfiction, which for me, to enjoy nonfiction is really hard, but I love Lewis's, even the hard ones, most of them. I really love his apologetics, and I love his sci-fi. I love the Space Trilogy, and I love Till We Have Faces. Pretty much, I just love everything Lewis wrote, which is really incredible. And I think he is a brilliant thinker and a brilliant apologist. Yeah, even if I don't always agree with him, I still think that he thinks very well. And I love how he presented, I took a class on Lewis and Tolkien in my undergrad degree called Lewis and Tolkien Imaginative Apologists. And I really think that description sums up one reason why their books are so good, is that they did apologetics, but they did it from a lens of imagination. And I think that is incredible. Alright, what is your favorite genre and why? Christian, I usually say non-magical fantasy. It doesn't necessarily have to be non-magical, but the magic, I don't like the ones where the magic feels real. That sounds wrong. What I mean is where it feels like real, like witchcraft. I don't like those, at least when that's used by the good guys. Because, I mean, there's several scenes in Narnia even where, witchcraft is used by the villains, like Jadis, or the chapter in Prince Caspian, Sorcery and Sudden Vengeance, where they try to bring back Jadis. Obviously, that's very creepy. But that's presented as the bad guy. So, I don't mind it if it's presented as being bad, but otherwise I just prefer either non-magical or, for example, the Banfield Prophecy series by Wayne Thomas Batson. I guess you would technically call that magical fantasy, because they have powers, but, it's not that kind of powers, so. Alright, who is your favorite character and why? Lucy Pevensey, because I love her. She is just so precious and wonderful and sweet, and I love her faith. I love her wonder. Yeah, I love everything about Lucy. She's a little bit irritable sometimes, and Language in the Wardrobe, there's that scene where she heals Edmund, and Aslan says, there are others who are injured, and she's like, yes, I know, wait a minute. And he has to scold her a little. And then, obviously, in Prince Caspian, where she doesn't go to Aslan. There are a few scenes like that where she does fail, but for the most part, she is just so wonderful, and she obeys Aslan so much. And I love the sweet relationship that she has with Aslan. I think that's one of my favorite things. It's just how precious their relationship is. And we should all really want to have a Lucy relationship with Jesus. What is your favorite book-to-movie adaptation and why? Language in the Wardrobe? Did we know this? We probably knew this. Honorable mention to the Muppet Christmas Carol, because, yes, and to the 95 Pride and Prejudice, and I think it's '08, Emma, '08, '09, the miniseries with Johnny Lee Miller and Roma Lagarai. Honorable mention to those, but like Liners in the Wardrobe is so good. The things it changed, I think it changed for the better, and it adapted so well. There are a few things I wish that hadn't left out, like when I'm King of Narnia, the first thing I shall do is to make some decent roads. And oh, so that's how you came to imagine yourself as queen, because you were the Emperor's hangman. Oh, I love those lines. I wish they'd have kept those in, but I just love that movie. Yeah, it's great. That scene when Aslan rises from the dead, man, it's so good. What is your favorite quote from a book and why? One word, ma'am, he said, coming back from the fire, limping because of the pain. One word. All you've been saying is quite right, I shouldn't wonder. I'm a chap who always likes to know the worst and then put the best face I can on it. So I won't deny anything of what you said. But there's one more thing to be said, even so. Suppose we have only dreamed, or made up, all those things. Trees and grass and sun and moon and stars and Aslan himself. Suppose we have. Then all I can say is that in that case the made-up things seem a good deal more important than the real ones. Suppose this black pit of a kingdom of yours is the only world. Well, it strikes me as a pretty poor one. And that's a funny thing when you come to think of it. We're just babies making up a game, if you're right. But 4 babies playing a game can make a play world which licks your real world hollow. That's why I'm going to stand by the play world. I'm on Aslan's side, even if there isn't any Aslan to lead it. I'm going to live as like a Narnian as I can, even if there isn't any Narnia. So thanking you kindly for our supper, if these 2 gentlemen and the young lady are ready, we're leaving your court at once and setting out in the dark to spend our lives looking for Overland. Not that our lives will be very long, I should think, but that's a small loss if the world's as dull a place as you say. That's from Silverchair, obviously, Puddleglum's speech. I love it. I love Puddleglum. It is wonderful, and I think I've always liked that just because, like, even as a kid, that was my favorite quote, because I'm going to live as like an Narnian as I can, even if there isn't any Narnia. Well, guess what? I'm a realist. As much as I love it, I know there isn't any Narnia. But I should try to live as like a Narnian as I can, you know? And that's why I loved it as a kid. But even as an adult, just reading it now, I was thinking about the theological implications of that. Like, you know, a lot of times nowadays, people who aren't Christians try to live by Christian morality. While that won't get you to heaven, like, you can only get to heaven through Jesus, through repentance and faith in Jesus. Still, Christian morality has made for the best civilizations that we've ever seen. No matter what you say about the Western world now, there's no denying that anybody, even the people who are trying to, you know, tear down Western civilization nowadays, would much rather live in the modern era than, you know, not even the Dark Ages, that was Christian civilization, than ancient worlds where they were sacrificing children and, you could just be enslaved for any reason. Like, you know, Christian morals, Christian morality and the Christian church leading things is what has brought people, even those who, I don't know, it's what has brought us into modern civilization. And I feel like that's a similar thought to that even, you know, even for those people who were part of that who maybe didn't truly believe in Jesus, they still brought about good in the world just because, I don't know, I'm not saying this well. Even those who didn't believe in Jesus, because of, I think, the grace of God and because they were trying to be following as much of what they could of God's law in their hearts at least, they made this great civilization that we live in. Anyway, that was probably too philosophical for this video. Moving on. What is your favorite book cover and why? Guess what, guys? I have an answer that's not Narnia. Actually, I do. I have 2 answers. One is this Narnia cover because, oh my goodness, I love this cover. I've come across it once in the wild, and it was $75 at a used bookstore, and I wasn't going to pay that, but oh, I love this cover. And then also this cover, this is the prettiest cover I actually own. I don't have it with me right now, but this is the prettiest cover I actually own. So, yes. What is your favorite trope and why? I think it might be, so I have a few favorite tropes. One is, friends to lovers. Love that trope. Superior trope. For sure. Much better than, okay, the superior form of enemies to lovers is actually enemies to friends to lovers. Yeah. Also love the trope of, like, man with it is what I usually call it. Where it's like, either a man is usually it's like a single dad, or he, like, you know, comes into possession of a kid somehow, and he's raising this kid and protecting this kid, and that's a good trope. That's a good trope right there. Another one that actually fits to Narnia. Guess what? Of course, everything with me comes back to Narnia. Did you not know that? Of course you knew that. Is this trope of, I don't know if I've ever heard anyone talk about this other than like one paper I may have read in college, but even then it didn't really talk about it too much. Fantasy starring little girls. That's what I call this. A lot, like if you think of classic fantasy, other than MacDonald, you'll have a lot of, like, Narnia is a prime example of this, right? Lucy is the main character of Lion. Like, it's a portal fantasy specifically. Portal fantasy starring little girls, where a little girl stumbles into a portal into another world. You've got Narnia. You've got Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy's it. You've got Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland is another example. The Nutcracker with Clara. Not Clara, Marie. Clara's... Why does her name change in all the adaptations? I don't understand. One could... When I was telling my husband about the trope and asking him if he had any other suggestions, I said, I feel like Anne of Green Gables is somehow this trope, and he said, Anne is a portal fantasy, because, yeah, she just lives in her own world. But I feel like Anne is also somehow part of this trope. But anyway, I think this is a fascinating trope, and I haven't quite thought through why. I might make a video one day where I kind of talk about it more in depth. But anyway, that's another trope that I really love. If you think of any more of these, comment down below and let me know. Yeah. Finally, who is your favorite book couple and why? No, it's not from Narnia. It's actually Beren and Luthien from the Silmarillion, because... have you read the story in Tale of Beren and Luthien? Because, like, you should read it. Not just the book Beren and Luthien. You could read that if you wanted, or you could just get the Silmarillion and read just that the chapter of Beren and Luthien. It won't make as much sense out of context, but I think you could follow along well enough. Where can I even start with this story? Luthien is an elf princess, and Beren is a human mortal man. And he stumbles across Luthien dancing in the woods. Luthien is the most beautiful creature ever born in Middle-earth. He stumbles across Luthien dancing in the woods, and he falls in love with her at first sight. Which, like, guy falls first and falls hard. Yes, that's another pretty good trope. And he falls hard. So he goes to her father's palace and asks him for her hand. And her father thinks he's joking. Basically, not really thinks he's joking, but, like, doesn't think he's worthy of her. And says, if you go get me a Silmaril, or come back to me with a Silmaril in your hand, I will let you marry her. And Beren laughs and says, for little price do elven kings sell their daughters. Now, that's a joke. The Silmarils were in the crown being worn by Morgoth, who is basically Satan. So basically, he just told him, go steal from Satan and come back alive, and I'll let you marry my daughter. Which means he's sending him on a suicide mission. He's wanting to get him killed. But Beren is like, yeah, whatever, sure, I'll go do that. Your daughter's worth way more than that. So it's a story of love and devotion. They both give up so much for each other to protect each other. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but they're so wonderful. And then just their ending, yeah, just, Beren and Luthien, man. Beren and Luthien is so good. My favorite Narnia couple is probably Cor and Erebus, because I love them, but they're not my favorite couple overall. It's Beren and Luthien. Alright, so that is the end of the favorites book tag. Let's see. Let me know down below what your favorite book is, and what your favorite quote is, because that's a fun question. What's your favorite book quote? And please like and subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.